right, we are now joined by Alabama head coach Nate Oates. Coach, welcome to Chicago. If you'd like to start with an opening statement.
It's good to be back. We fortunate to play in this building already. When they got us in the same locker room, we were here. Shoot back, whenever it was, we walked in. I thought which season did we play here? Because it feels like it was a couple seasons ago already. So we've been through quite a bit since that Illinois game. But it is good to be back. Sometimes it's good to remind yourself of how good you played at different times. I think some of our non-conference road games, I think, prepared us for this moment. Go the first week of the season, go to St. John's. They're still alive, look like one of the best teams in the country. We got a road game at Madison Square Garden. You know, you come to Illinois, play them. This wasn't technically a road game because Illinois doesn't play their home games here, but it's, I would call it a semi-road game, pretty close to a road game. We're able to get a win here. Now Michigan's a different deal. They're physically imposing. There's not too many holes on Michigan's team. Their front line's as good as any front line in college basketball in recent history. Their backcourt's very good. You know, obviously they got Namari, who played for us, who was part of a lot of big wins. Love Namari. He's a great kid. You know, he's their best shooter. He's playing well, so it's not like they're playing non-shooting backcourt. You know, Elliott, their point guard, we did play against him at Carolina, and you know, we played him a certain way that game. He's drastically improved his shooting. I don't think you can play him the same way we did 2 years ago. I think he'll hurt you that way, and a lot of credit to him. I mean, look, I'm a high school coach that has gone all in on player development, both in the high school ranks and in college, and I think you always got to give guys a chance to improve. So, you know, you may play a particular player one year and then the next, and you got to take into account the fact they've had an entire offseason. With him, he's had 2 off seasons, so he's worked hard on holes in his game, and I don't think you can play him the way we played him when he was at Carolina. So a lot of credit to him, a lot of credit to the Michigan coaching staff on developing him into a shooter. So this team's good. Yaxel, you know, one of the best players in the country, played right in our home state at UAB. Knew about him. Michigan did a good job to get him. He's super versatile. They kind of start him at the 3, moves down to the 4. They're 3, 4, and 5. Could start anybody in the country, you know, and they're good. So they're going to make it hard to finish in the paint. You know, these teams that got real rim protectors that try to build out on our 3s, we've got to be very exacting, if you will, precise, locked in on how we're going to get our 3s. You know, we obviously take a lot of 3s. Somebody showed me a stat. I've got to be pretty good friends with Joe Mazzulla. I think they had the highest three-point rate in the NBA at 53.6. Somebody said when we're at 53.9. That was Celtics last year, so we're obviously taking a lot of 3s. So these teams that come in to guard us are going to try to take away the 3. And Michigan's got a team that's pretty capable of doing it because they got rim protection. So we're going to have to be smart, thorough, focused, locked in on how we execute our offense, because a lot of times these teams take bad shots and it results in transition buckets the other way on Michigan because they got elite rim protection. So when we do get to the rim and they got a rim protector there, we're going to have to make smart reads because they're also going to try to take away our 3s. So Michigan's top 10 offense and defense, they're going to be hard to beat, but I do think we've got a team that can compete with them. You know, I do think we're playing our best basketball. Thought that game against Texas Tech, who, by the way, is a very good team. You know, I'm also pretty good friends with TJ Otzelberger. I'm good friends with all 3 of these coaches here in Chicago. I got as much respect for Rick in our league as anybody in our league, and I've gotten to know him really well and love Rick. I've known TJ since he played at UW-Whitewater, and I coached at UW-Whitewater right after he got done playing. And then I've known Dusty for, 20-plus years. He actually helped give me my first job in Division I. So I know all these guys. But, you know, Tech went to Iowa State and won at Iowa State. And Iowa State's one of the best teams in the country without Toppin. So we played a very good Texas Tech team and played pretty well against them. So I think we're playing our best basketball, and we're going to have to play even significantly a lot better than that in order to be Michigan, but I do think we're trending in the right direction at the right time, like we've tended to do here in this program. So I think we've got our guys locked in, ready to go. We're going to have to execute the game plan. We're going to have to make some shots. We're going to have to take care of the ball. We're going to have to find a way to rebound. And if we do that, we're going to have a chance to beat this team.
Thank you, Coach. We have a question on the right.
Yeah, Coach. Charlie Potter with Bama Online. Sorry to kind of open with this, but with the Carolina job opening and others potentially down the line, your name gets brought up. Do you have any kind of comment or reaction to that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the first time. And look, a lot of respect to the other programs that may open, and they've got great basketball tradition. And, as a young high school coach, maybe, shoot, I didn't think I'd ever be in this spot, to be honest with you, that long ago. So if you've gotten to know me, I'm not a guy that's trying to always jump around. Like, the grass is not always greener. I love Alabama. My girls love Alabama. They're here with me. I love working with the administration that I work with. I think Greg Burns, best AD in the country. I love working with him. It'd be great if I was able to work with them the rest of my career. They're doing everything they can to make sure that we've got a competitive program. And as long as we're able to compete to win championships here, SEC, national championships, we haven't done that here yet. I'd love to be the coach to bring us our first national championship. We got to a Final Four. So to me, there's absolutely no reason to leave here. And while it's flattering that a high school guy that caught a couple breaks would be mentioned with some of these jobs because they've got a lot of tradition, I'm not a guy that's looking to get out of here anytime soon. I love it here. My girls love it here. I love working with the people at Alabama. So, yeah, names are going to get mentioned. I'm probably one of 10 or 12. Like, it is what it is. That's the business. But I haven't talked to anybody, nor do I plan on talking to anybody.
Okay, front row left.
NickKellyAL.com, kind of a follow-up to that. You've shown clearly capable of making Sweet 16s. Of course, made one Final Four. But do you feel like you can win a national championship at Alabama?
I do. I think things have changed. I think, obviously, you've got to get supported with the right resources. But I feel like, when I came to Alabama, I was at Buffalo. I was going to have some options. This one came up. And when I talked to my agent, his point was like, the athletic department at Alabama generates as much money as about anybody in the country year to year. So I think you've got to be at a place that has resources to win, and Alabama has those resources to win. We may not have the tradition that some of these other places had, but Indiana football probably didn't have that tradition either, and they won it. I think their athletic department supported them. They got a good coach, and they won it. I think in basketball, you get the right coach with the right resources, and I'm not saying we have to have number one and rev share and all this stuff. We just got to have enough to be competitive. And I feel like we've got a coaching staff with the assistants that I have. We've got an administration that supports us. We're moving into what I think, and I haven't been in every practice facility in the country, but part of the reason I'm pretty close to Dusty May is I used to go to all these different college practices, and I used to go to, when he was an assistant at Eastern, me and him went to a Bulls training camp together. I've been in a lot of college places. I think the practice facility we're about to move into with the offices are going to be as good as anybody in the country. So I'm excited to it. I think everything that they're doing to support men's basketball is going to give us a chance. We've been the number one seed in the NCAA tournament. Well, if you can be the number one seed, you're favored to win that. Now, Brandon Miller had an injury. We didn't shoot well. We got upset. But then the year after, we went to a Final Four. We would have been doing an Elite Eight. We're the only program that's been to a Final Four and an Elite Eight the last 2 years. The year before that, we were the number one overall seed. We're right there every year knocking on the door. You got to catch a few breaks injury-wise and all that. You've got to do a great job putting a roster together, and I got to do a great job coaching them. And I think we're right there. We're going to continue to be right there, and hopefully everything goes well and we're able to win one here one of these years coming up soon. Maybe it's this year.
All right, question far left.
Yeah, Andy Seligman, AP. Nate, what do you remember about your impressions of Dusty when you first met him, and just what stood out to you about him?
First off is that he was a great guy. So, my start in this business is a little bit different than a lot of guys that are in my shoes. I was a Division III player at Maranatha. I coached there. My dad's still a professor there. He shoots 2 hours from here. He's driving down. He's from Illinois. Used to come down here to Illinois to my grandparents' house in Pekin all the time growing up. I was able to watch all the WGN every time I come down, so I'm very familiar here. But I used to go to all these college practices, so I got to meet college coaches. When I became, I went from Maranatha to Whitewater, where Otzelberger played. Then I went to Romulus, and I got to know all the college coaches that came through my gym, and it was hundreds of them. Some of them you could tell were using you to try to get your players. Some of them you could tell were great guys that were not using you to get to your players, and they were actually trying to build a genuine relationship with you because they were. And Dusty was one of those guys that was genuine, real, smart, and worked hard. He was an assistant at Eastern Michigan when I knew him. He was the manager at Indiana. I liked him. I went over. I tried to go to Michigan practices, Eastern, all this. We got to be very close because we were both young basketball junkies trying to learn every which way possible. So got to know him when he was at Eastern, liked him. He moved around, stayed in touch with him. I stayed at Romulus. When he was an assistant under Mike White at Louisiana Tech, they recruited a kid of mine, Leo Edwards, who went there from Romulus. So Leo goes down to Louisiana Tech. He stays with Mike. I get the chance to go with Bobby Hurley. Well, Bobby Hurley got hired by Danny White, who's Tennessee's AD that's here. Now, Danny talks to Mike White and Dusty about me. Then Bobby goes on. 2 years later, I get a chance to interview for the head job at Buffalo. Danny White calls Mike White. I think Dusty was involved with that a little bit. And so he was a part of me getting my first head job in Division I. So I've stayed in touch with matter of fact, Dusty spoke at our clinic. We do this clinic. We bring in NBA head coaches, NBA assistants, which I think it's the best clinic in college basketball. My assistant, Ryan Pannone, helped start it, put it together. We do it every year. It'll be great this August. Well, Dusty came down and spoke at it this last year. He said, look, if you need me to speak, I'll speak, but I'd really like to just come and learn because he learns a lot of basketball. He's great. I think he's one of the best coaches in college basketball. So it's not one of these games where we're going in and they got a lot of talent and we think we can just out-coach a poorly coached, talented team. Michigan's very talented and very well coached. So I think Dusty's has not let his ego move. He's the same guy that I knew as an assistant in Eastern Michigan with all the success he's had. His ego hasn't gotten any bigger, and I think that speaks a lot to the character of the guy, and I'm still friends with him. I'm sure we'll talk after the game. I have not. Actually, he texted me last night and asked me what hotel we were staying at. He thought we were staying next to him, so I didn't talk to him about our basketball game. I talked to him about other stuff. So,
All right, question in the front.
Hey, Nate. Dan Wolken, Yahoo Sports. With respect to what you said at the beginning about wanting to be at Alabama, a couple years ago when you guys made that Final Four run, you and Alabama did a contract extension before the tournament. I was curious, why have you not done that this time, and where do those conversations stand?
well, one is the contract they gave me back when we did that one was pretty good. So I'm getting a listen. So I'd say this a lot. I am a high school coach that caught a couple breaks in life, and there's probably high school coaches better than me out there that just didn't catch the breaks. As a matter of fact, I know there's high school coaches better than me. So when my salary goes up $500,000 every year, you know how long it took me to make $500,000 at Romulus? Like it was, I got paid $4,700 a year to coach basketball for 11 years. So I'm not going to them asking them to redo, like we redid the contract and I went to a Final Four and we didn't redo it because they got good faith in me and I got good faith in them. We've had discussions. I'm open to redoing them, but I'm not really looking to leave. I'm pretty honest with them. So if they come up with one that makes sense to do, it's good, and I'd love to stay there, but I'm not really looking. So
You don't have an offer in hand right now?
no, I don't have an offer in hand, but we've had some discussions, and it's probably getting close, and we'll see where it takes us. But I feel like I'm probably too honest with everybody, including you guys in the media. And sometimes you use it against me, which is fine. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking. I'm probably too honest with the administration. I'm not looking to leave. So they don't need to be in a huge rush to fix a really good contract that I got right now. I got on March 15th, my salary went up $500,000. I still can't believe I'm getting paid this much. I'm coaching basketball. Guys, I did this thing for free at Maranatha for 3 years. I got paid $500 out of the Warhawk Fund at Whitewater a year for the next 2 years. I made $4,700 a year for 11 years. So added up, for the first 16 years I coached basketball, it was less than $50,000 total. My salary goes up $500,000 every year. It's, glorified PE teacher making too much money right now. So I'm not going to complain.
All right, we have time for one more question, front left.
Coach Joe Gaither, BamaCentral.com. I wonder if you could go back to your opening, talk about Yaxel, and was there any conversations, or can you detail the conversations that you might have had with Yaxel in the transfer portal? And then secondly, how do you plan on defending him tomorrow night?
He was at UAB. We did make a call. It never got very deep. I think there were some programs that were in a little deeper with a lot more money at the time. So it's one of those you kind of call, see where the situation's at. Probably wasn't something we were going to be able to do, so didn't spend a lot of time on it. So I knew Michigan had been involved pretty heavily early, and I had made a call to Dusty. We've ended up recruiting the same guys a few different times. He's pretty open and honest with me. I'm pretty open and honest with him. And it didn't we didn't go very far. It wasn't for the lack of thinking he wasn't a very good player. We knew he's the best player in the portal. So, to get to where, how do you defend him? Well, you're going to have to hope he misses some shots, because he's a super athletic basketball player with a lot of size that's playing the 3 and the 4 for them. So at the 3, he kind of overpowers you. At the 4, he still overpowers you, but he's a little quicker. So you're going to have to guard him with guys that are big enough, strong enough, and athletic enough, and there's not many of those. So you're going to have to get some help from, teammates on the floor. Typically, we've switched 1 through 4, or at least 1 through 3 all year. Not sure you want to switch small guards onto him. You may have to. And then you're just going to have to figure out what to do with them when they go in the post. Dusty's good. He knows what he's got. He puts them in good spots. So I'm going to say this. This is not a game where you can guard a lot of these guys one-on-one, because you're going to lose the one-on-one. So against most good teams, you got to figure out what you can give up, because you're not taking away everything. So we can't take away all their rim shots, take away all their drives, take away all their threes, take away all their post-ups. You got to give something up. So you got to figure out what it is that makes the most sense to give up. We obviously don't want Yaxel posting us, and we don't want him driving. So we got to figure out what you're going to have to give him something. So we're going to have to get a lot of help. But we've got guys with size, some toughness, some competitiveness about them that I think will do a good job. And doing a good job on him is probably not hold them scoreless. Make him take tough shots. He's going to make some of them. You can't get anything easy. So our whole thing with these guys is whatever they get that we choose to give up, it can't be easy, and we're going to have to make life harder on them. And if you can't rebound with these guys, I'm not saying we're going to dominate them like we did Texas Tech on the boards, but you got to at least rebound with them. We can't get drilled on the glass like we did against Arizona, Gonzaga, Florida, some of these teams with some real size. So if we don't come with some toughness, some competitiveness, some physicality, we're not going to be able to be in this game. So, but the good thing is we've shown it enough times this year.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be joined shortly by Alabama student athletes Houston Millette, LeBaron Philon Jr., and Latrell Wrightsell Jr. Thank you. The media, so you know which one, because they'll all be raising their hands. Yep. Front of the camera, you just kind of crouch down. Yeah, just, yeah. All right, we are now joined by Alabama student athletes Houston Millett, LeBaron Philon Jr., and Latrell Wrightsell Jr. Let's take questions for the student athletes. Let's start here, front left.
Davis Baker, WSFA. Houston, after that win against Tech, you said that you would die for Alabama. Just curious, what has made your experience here so positive? And for one of his teammates, if you guys could say what it's like to have Houston as a teammate.
Yeah, I mean, I love this place. It's the best place I've ever been. I love my teammates. I love it. Like, I don't want this thing to end. Like, Bama's treated me and my teammates in a way that's like changed the rest of our lives. Like, it's changed my lives through relationships, through the bonds with my brothers. And I don't know, there's this verse in John where Jesus talks about greater love has no one than this, than to lay one's life down for his friend. And that's kind of a verse that I take heart. Like, I would lay my life down for these two guys. I would lay my life down for anybody in our program. I love this school so much, and yeah, I love it, man.
Just having him as a teammate, it means everything. I mean, you know, just seeing him walk in the gym early, you know, getting up shots, you know, greeting everybody, you know, putting a smile on everybody's face. So really, you know, when he's around, it's no possible way to have a bad day. I mean, he can uplift anybody, and I didn't seen it like hands-on and stuff like that. But, you know, like I said, you know, he's a great person, you know, great leader, and, you know, he gets all the guys just like together and just like things with anything, you know, just talking to guys about Christ and stuff like that. That's, you know, really important to him. And I feel like, you know, all the guys really just like love him, and just like he said, we don't want it to end. So just like been playing so hard for this university and program.
Okay, second row left.
Paul Banks, the Sports Bank and USA Today. LeBaron, we've seen some significant improvements in your shooting percentages in this season from last season. Would you attribute that to what you learned when you went through the testing the waters in the NBA draft and the exploratory process?
I would just say, you know, in the off season, you know, having a lot of time to just work on your game was really the biggest thing for me. Like I said, you know, before, it really wasn't anything that I had to change. It was just about, you know, the type of shots that I was getting and the confidence level. And I feel like when I was working in the summer, it's just like my confidence just grew so much that, you know, every shot that I shot, I thought it was going in. So that's how, you know, I just play the game of basketball now. I didn't really have to change anything in my, you know, shot mechanics or nothing like that. But like I said, just getting the extra reps in and, you know, building that confidence.
Okay, question front left.
Yeah, Hunter DeSaver, Bama Central. Just for all three of you, what does it mean to be kind of a massive underdog in this game? How do you guys embrace that?
Latrell, why don't you start?
I mean, we not really like opposed to it. We know that Michigan's a really good team, and they've proven that multiple times throughout the season and stuff like that. So we have the ultimate respect. But we also know what we can do too, and we know that like if we put in the work and we play our best and we play hard and we play for each other and have fun out there, I mean, we can compete with anybody in the country. And we know that they have a really good size and they have really good bigs and really good guard play, and like they're a full team. But you know, we put in the work to be here too. We lace our shoes the exact same way, so we know we have the talent, we have the coaching staff, we have the game plan, and we have everything we need to be successful as well.
All right, Houston, take it.
Yeah, we've embraced adversity all year long. We've had 14 different starting lineups. We've had probably a million different lineups who's been available, who's been out with injury. So we embrace it. Like Trell said, it's a basketball game. We prepare. I think we've had our best 2 weeks of preparation. Like our practices last week were phenomenal, and then our practice the past 3 days has been incredible. And we love each other. We got Real Mudita. All respect to Michigan. They're a really good program, like Trell said. I mean, they're great all around. They're really well coached, but we're just excited for the opportunity.
All right.
For me, it's just seeing the coaches like get real riled up for this game. I mean, Coach Oates, you know, all the coaches, man, they just ready to play. And, you know, for a player just to see that just give you more confidence that, you know, we're gonna be out there ready to play. just like they are. They're a great team, but we also, been finding, our way here, and I feel like we done progressed a lot. So just seeing that as a team that's coming in really hot and playing against a great team is going to be a really good game.
Okay, let's go third row left.
Michael Capabianco, Medill News Service. LeBaron, question for you. You've tallied 19 assists in the first 2 games of the tournament. How do you feel like that side of the game has grown for you throughout the season, and how do you expect that to be a factor tomorrow night?
Just finding a balance of knowing, when I have to get off the ball. I mean, some teams have aggressive coverages, and some teams, like to play drop coverage. Some teams like to, get up there and switch. So just being able to balance it, like I said, being able to get in the lane, being able to play outside, being able to find guys, in tight windows. It's just like, it's like I said, the balance of the game, really, I can't really explain, just as a point guard, you always have to have, a little bit in between of, just doing everything. And for me, I've been trying to get rebounds, push the ball, and just like get the ball movement for the guys, and just like trusting that the ball is going to, find the right person.
Okay, question far left.
Katie Wyndham with Bama Central. For LeBaron, what do you like about playing in March Madness and just kind of the stage of the Sweet 16 and the opportunity it provides?
Just playing in March Madness in general, I mean, it's one of the, biggest basketball, outlets for college and just like around the world. I mean, everybody watches college basketball, but it's a lot of more people tuning in when it's March. So, for the guys that's out there trying to get their name known, or teams that, want to prove something, it's just like, it means more. Like, just in March, everybody's season on the line and nobody wants to go home. And, for seniors, nobody wants to play their last game, I'm pretty sure. So just putting it all on the line, really.
All right, third row middle.
Henry Freeman, Medill News Service. Houston, you guys are preparing for your 3rd game without Aiden. How has this team rallied in his absence, and how are you guys preparing?
Yeah, I mean, we love Biz. Our prayers are with him, and that's our brother for life. I think we've prepared the same way we prepared all season. We've had, like I said earlier, like a bunch of different starting lineups, a bunch of guys in and out the rotation. It's just we have like a superpower, and that's our Mudita. Like, we love each other. We have vicarious joy for each other's success as if it was our own. That's our superpower. I think that's what makes the difference within our team. So, I mean, guys have stepped up in his absence, like Taylor Bobone's playing some of his best basketball. Jaleel, the way he's been practicing, you guys will see, like, he's been really good. I mean, Noah Williamson, he's having a phenomenal tournament. Guys have stepped up left and right. So, like I said, like that's our brother. But we're ready to play. We're ready to prepare, and we love each other.
All right, we have time for one more question. Got a question here on third row left.
LeBaron, you mentioned that being able to see the coaches riled up for the game gives you confidence. In what ways have you seen the coaches really give it their all in preparation this week?
I mean, Coach Oates, he's just like, he's so into it. I mean, these guys can explain it like, he's just ready. I mean, you can see the look in his eyes, just going through the game plan and the way he's talking about the game. You can tell, like, he's been, losing sleep and just putting in the extra hours of just, like, wanting to win this game. And, like, like I said, like, I see the look in his eyes, so I know, like, he really wants to win this game. So, as a player, that means everything, because, just that confidence right there can give you just like a little more, of an edge to go make the, plays that we need to make, or plays that can, flip the game. And he kind of talked about that, just like being ready to play for 40 minutes. I think that's going to be the like special thing for this group to do, in this game. Just be ready to be out there for 40 minutes or even 50 if it go that long. So just putting it all on the line, like I said.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
As a reminder, Hammond Communications